think I would be massaging your back if I didn't want anything. The question is, do you have what? Do you have what I need?
I have everything you need.
You know, when you gave your observation yesterday, I was going to say something, but I felt like valid observation, right? But I think that sometimes you're not in people's lives to go the distance. People can come into your life and they can make reasonable impact in your life that other people that you've met or that have been in your life might not have. And I feel like that could be me and Bright. I don't look at us and say, oh, fairy tale, probably stay 1 year, 2 years. I don't think of it like that. I just feel like it's the impact that matters.
Dede, press your back. It's very disrespectful for you to walk out of a conversation. And that is the height of disrespect. Oh my God.
Yo, this girl should never learn. Never learn. Ladies and gentlemen, I watched Dede get upset with Kola last night. Before the upset, there had been a brief massage session. Before the brief massage session, there had been a lot of playfulness, which is not bad, right? Before the playfulness, backtrack to Sunday night after the live eviction show, after Ebuka had exposed Kola's tactics to get her, finally, to eventually get her. I thought that Dede had finally come to her senses. I thought Dede had finally seen the light. I thought Dede was going to re-strategize. I also watched this girl yesterday morning/afternoon. You could clearly see that she was giving Kola space. In fact, Kola was even the one that first started giving her space. This guy had seen this girl in the dressing area standing in front of her usual dressing mirror, and he had breezed past her like she wasn't the one standing there. And she was quite shocked. And she was turning and looking at him like this. Like, didn't this guy see me? Now, we'll come back again to last night. I watched all of their interactions. The playful part, the part that got a bit, frisky. Her giving him a massage and also giving Rude Boy a massage. And I'm like, was this necessary? Oh, and then later on, their conversation. Her body language, her countenance, Kola's countenance. Hey, God. Have you all seen the movie Behind Our Eyes on Netflix? If you've seen that series, it felt like, in the weirdest way, there was a switch of personalities, a switch of characters between these two. In Kola, I was seeing the Dede of week 1 to 4. And in Dede, I was seeing Kola, the one that's the golden retriever. And then Kola being the black cat, if you understand what I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, as I was saying, I watched Dede get upset with Kola, was venting about it, ranting to Kola last night. And I did not feel anything. Like, guys, I did not feel sorry for her. I did not feel anything. Frankly speaking, what I felt was disgust. Yeah, disgust. Because a lot of things was just at play. And I'm just looking at this girl, I'm looking at this guy, and I'm thinking, what manner of sea finish is this? What manner of sea finish is this? Look at where you were, and then boom, bye, on the floor. Oh, how has the mighty fallen? Man, now see finishes this. Ha! The Dede of week 1 to 4 could never. Not this one. Not this one. So ladies and gentlemen, yeah, we're gonna get into this video. Now we'll share with you all the details because I'm still kind of, you know, irked or icked or I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm still kind of amazed at the whole situation. So we're gonna get into this video. I'll give you all the details. Now, aside Dede and Kola's shenanigans, there was also a beautiful, beautiful conversation between Mide and Faith. Ladies and gentlemen, I called it beautiful because it was really eye-opening. These two shared a lot, you know, about growing up, childhood. Most of the sharing came from Mide, which is quite interesting because Mide is one of those housemates that used to antagonize Faith a lot. Yep. Despite the fact that he had tried explaining himself to her before, she still maintained her stance in antagonizing him. So it was quite interesting that she went to him and started off this conversation about her relationship with Bright Morgan. There was a lot to it, and I'm going to be spilling all of that tea on this video, right? So focus will be on these two stories. So please watch to the end of this video. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below because I would love to hear what you think anyways, all right? And you're all welcome to my channel. My name is Glory Elijah. This is Frankly Speaking with Glory Elijah, and I call myself the girl with the tea. Without saying anything further, let's just get right into the rest of the video. Let's take it from Sunday night, all right? I'm just going to breeze through it. So, as I mentioned before, it seemed as though, I mean, for a flip second, it seemed as though Dede was spending time pondering on all the revelations, everything that was spilled on Sunday during the live eviction show by Ebuka and, of course, Kola's response to Ebuka's inquiries. Also, for a flip second, I thought Dede had come to her senses. Listening to our conversation with Mide, you know, she looked really tearful, looked like she was about to break down, looked like she was mentally and emotionally checked out of the show, of the house itself, you know. Looks like she was scared about what her boyfriend on the outside would think about her or even say about her. Or, I mean, she literally said she doesn't even know her way home. You know, when Mide was telling her, don't worry, get home first. And she was like, I don't even know how to get home, right? So for me, I took that as she doesn't even know how to retract her steps back from where she was with Kola or what she has done with Kola. So I thought she was remorseful. I thought she was going to have a rethink and re-strategize on how to, you know, handle the rest, I mean, the remaining 2 weeks left of the season. And then yesterday morning was quite a sober morning for her. Right? As I mentioned before, she was dressing up and Kola had just literally breezed past her. Now, I do not know if they had actually exchanged pleasantries before. I don't know. But Kola had breezed past her. Now, they did not sleep in the same bed. Thankfully, on Sunday night, right? It seemed like she had set new boundaries. Kola was even avoiding her at some point. So they were avoiding each other, and yeah. Dede had spent the most part of the day yesterday with Mide, but then later on she had her own alone time in the garden, and it had gone on for a while. So fast forward to after the live nominations process, there was this sudden burst of energy with Dede playing with Mide and also playing with Kola. Now Kola was making food, right? And it seemed like they were also involved in that food. That was really energetic conversation going on in the kitchen. You know, everybody was in a good mood. Everybody was in high spirits. Conversations were just flowing. And then they were quite playful with each other. That's Dede and Kola. And it was just going on and on and on and on and on. Until later on, Dede had given Kola a shirtless back massage. Now, she had sat on top of his back and she was giving him that massage. Now, it was quite brief, not too lengthy, but she had given him a shirtless massage. And Rude Boy had also asked for just a brief, you know, pressure attack on his back. And Dede had done the same thing for him, but with his shirt on. I saw that and I'm thinking, Dede, you still haven't learned anything. Anyways, fast forward to much later. She and Kola, they were having conversations behind the games station. You know those little sofas on the floor? Yeah, they were having conversations. And they were playing rock, paper, scissors. Now, Kola said that if he won, she was going to cuddle him last night. And she refused. She said no. She rejected. He kept on asking. She kept on rejecting. But they continued playing rock, paper, scissors anyways. Now, she said that if she wins, she has a demand. She has something she wants. Now, we did not see how that game ended because, of course, the camera moved on to Mide and Faith's conversation. But we're going to get to that part. Now, later on, cameras came back to them. They were having conversations. Camera left again. And then when the camera came back to both of them, I don't know what Dede said that upset Kola, but he seemed upset. He seemed kind of triggered. And then he was telling her that he was going to leave. Like he was going to leave the conversation. And she said, okay, fine. He kept on saying it. I'm going, no. I'm telling you, I'm going to leave. Oh. And she said, yeah, fine. Do what you want. Do what you want. And Kola had left her there. So he had walked out on whatever they were discussing about. He had gone upstairs. And Dede was so embarrassed. She was so embarrassed. She got up and said, okay, we'll continue in the room. And then she went upstairs, which, hey God. She went upstairs, went to her bed, and she was angry. Now, Kola went to her. I mean, by the time the cameras panned to both of them again, Kola was on top of, like, okay, it was, first of all, begging her, like, oh, being playful with her. And then the next thing we knew was Kola was on top of her back and was shaking her like, I won't leave you until you talk to me. I won't leave you until you talk to me. I'm like, hey, Egba Mio. From where to where? I mean, guys, hey, I don't know if you all understand why this whole thing is really jarring for me. I mean, where is the refined Dede? Where is the classy Dede? I'm not talking about the proud Dede. I'm referring to the Dede that actually used to have boundaries. Because this has, see, watching that whole scene play out last night, it just seemed like there's no single boundary left. Yes, I said boundaries in the mud, but this time around, it's like they've removed the boundaries from the mud. They did not clean it up, or they trashed it literally. They trashed it. So there's no existence of any single boundaries anymore. None whatsoever. Because how did we get here? No, not we, come I'm not among. How did Dede get to that point where Kola could now sit on her back? Oh, she sat on his back earlier to massage him, fine. But then Kola could not sit on her back and was playing with her and Dede get up. And Dede, if you don't get up, I'm not going to leave you. And she said, please get off my back. And then he got off her back. And then he was still begging her. He was still holding her. He was still shaking her. That I'm like, eh? Is this what we're doing now? Oh my goodness. Anyways, her upset with Kola is that was the height of disrespect for him to have walked out on their conversation. That he was the one that came to Kola from upstairs, that they should go downstairs to talk, only for him to walk out on her. That it doesn't matter whatever went wrong, whatever he thought was upsetting him, that even if the world is ending, he had no right to just walk out on her and their conversation like that. Kola kept on apologizing, and he kept on saying that, oh, I don't like how you're taking this whole thing, you know, the way you're twisting the whole thing. Now you're making it look like I did XYZ. But she stood her ground. She was quite upset with him and told him to give her space, to leave her alone and to stay away from her, at least for that moment. And Kola had left after persistently begging and apologizing. He stood up, went out the door, came back and was still begging. And then he had gone to his bed. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, I watched that whole scenario play out. And, my God. Now, once again, Dede for my hand. Dede fall my hand. Her fans will come here and say, oh, she's only human. She's only 23. I still tell you, Dede fall my hand. Yeah, she fall my hand. Anyways, moving on to Mide and Faith's conversation. As I said at the start of this video, Mide and Faith had a really good conversation, a surprisingly really good conversation. And I say so because Mide was one of those housemates that never really did give Faith a chance. She already judged him. She already crucified him at every given opportunity. She already had a perception about him that was just there. Like, it was stuck. It was never changing. And even when he had once made an attempt to explain himself to her, Mide was not having it. She already judged him and she stuck to a judgment of him. Now, I don't know if her perception of him has changed, but it might seem as though there's been a shift somewhere, you know. Now, in that conversation, it turns out to me that Mide was still pondering about Faith's analysis of her relationship with Bright Morgan. She still had it in mind. In fact, it was causing her to think a lot. So she had come back to Faith and, you know, was telling him that, when he said what he said the other day, that there was something she wanted to say, but she did not say it. So she had gone ahead to admit that the thing is, sometimes, even though you're not in people's lives, what really matters is the impact. So for her, she knew that Bright Morgan has a girlfriend, right? But then she enjoyed her time with him and he really impacted her life in the house. He was one of those people that really helped her to come out of her shell. He was one of those people that made her experience in the house really rich and full. And Faith agreed with her that, yes, that he totally agrees with her that most of the time it's really about the impact. There was a name he called the kind of relationship that they both have. He called it boosters. That sometimes when you are with people, it doesn't matter the length or duration of the relationship. Sometimes they are just there in your life for a particular purpose, you know, and it's called boosters. You know, when you have people in your life and they are just boosters for a relationship, you know. And then he had created an example using rocket science, how the rocket goes up into the skies and how it immediately detaches, and, you know, and all of that. And for the first time, he and Mide actually agreed on something. And Mide also went ahead to explain that she felt like Bright Morgan was one of the pillars of her existence in the house. And Faith also agreed. In fact, they were just agreeing with each other's thoughts, and it made so much sense. So for her, well, even though things does not work out between she and Bright Morgan, the beauty about what they had was that he really impacted in her life. So when they go out of the house, they'll have conversations and see how it goes from there. You know, and the conversation went on and on and on. And later on, I was quite surprised that their conversations continued, you know, because she started sharing about her childhood with Faith, about how she had really lied about her identity to a secondary school classmate, up until the point where they found out the real truth that she is not particularly from the most wealthiest family, that she actually grew up, you know, in a face me, I face you, that not in a very luxurious apartment. And it had completely altered her life in secondary school because they had really dragged her for it, to the point that anything she said anymore in school, everybody considered it a lie. So it was such a beautiful story, right? And for me, it gave me some insight into another side to Mide, yes. But more importantly, from that interaction between these two people, it was the fact that for the first time, they were able to have a sit-down conversation where, let me say, Faith really got to understand Mide. And I'm really hoping that the grace that he extended to her, that she has finally also learned how to extend the same measure of grace to him. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this video. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this new dynamics in the relationship between Dede and Kola. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll see you guys on another video soon. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.